And on the other side we have sill number 1, most of which is still here in some form or other. On one part, the Atlantic Shore or York Utilities had found that the top had disintegrated, so they replaced this top piece. But when we got in it, initially, we thought that the wood was shaped like this and they had rabbited it out here. But then we found it was really a joint once we got down in there. So that all 8 of these are exactly the same dimensions, about 5, well, we'll see how much it is. I think it's 5 inches by approximately 12, yeah, see, 5 inches by 12 inches Southern Yellow Pine. So the new one will be vintage Southern Yellow Pine, and it will replace this outer one. And one of the reasons we want a good one on the outside is because we are also putting the lettering for Atlantic Shoreline Railway on the side, and we need to have a piece that's relatively good. Now, having said that, it was interesting looking at a picture of 100 when it was new, or fairly new, and its sister cars. We noticed cracks already were there almost immediately. I mean, the wood is just not perfect substance, but the lettering looks fine, so that will really wasn't a problem. All right, I'll talk. The plates were, there were steel plates, which you can see over there, which were about 3/4 of an inch thick and 5 inches, 5-6 inches wide, that sat on here and acted as reinforcements to the bolts that went down through. And what we are going to do is we're going to notch every one of the sills and put them in. And the car was built originally, they didn't have them, but in the era we're doing it, 1935 to 1940, we're almost certain that they had them. So we're going to put them all the way. Whether we do the outside one or not is another question, because they used a thinner plate here, and for whatever reason they decided they didn't need to. It's an impressive look. I think these are for the truck.
Mm-hmm.
We found that we were not able to get the large size bolts at a reasonable price to bolt the frame together. So what we did was bought rod, threaded it on one end with a nut, threaded it a little bit on the other end, and then put a square nut on, because square headed bolts were what they used almost entirely on this locomotive, and they're getting harder to get. So we welded the head right on there and made this whole bunch of them. I think there's another car also involved, a few bolts for another car we're working on, but by and large they're all for locomotive 100, and the length is written on the end just for convenience.